Well, hi, everybody. We are super excited for this month's After the Secretariat call. Now, we're a little late. We're doing September's 2023 After the Secretariat call, which was all about 3.3 and diversity. And we have brought on a fantastic guest. So it's going to be Dr. Tonya Fancher from UC Davis, who has been all over the news and all over the press talking about how they've actually dealt with this for forever in California. And we are so pleased to bring her here. But before we get to Dr. Fancher, I would be remiss if I did not introduce my associate in crime.
Hi, Colleen Hayden here from the Icahn School of Medicine, Mount Sinai, working with Jenny in Krishner Strategies.
All right, Dr. Fancher, you want to just first just give us a couple-minute introduction of yourself, kind of what is your role at UC Davis and everything, and then feel free to jump right into, because California has had legislation similar to SCOTUS, the SCOTUS ruling that came out. What have you guys done? How have you been so successful with student diversity?
Sure. So thanks for having me. I'm Tonya Fancher. I'm the Associate Dean for Workforce Innovation and Education QI at UC Davis and a professor of medicine. We had our LCME visit just in 2022. I think that's right, Jenny, right? 2022. And so at Davis, diversity has been really important to us for many, many, many years. We really see ourselves as creating the workforce for all of Northern California, which is a very diverse, both geographically as well as racially, community. So in California, Prop 209, which is essentially an anti-affirmative action law, started in about 1997. So that law actually applies to more than just admissions, whereas SCOTUS focuses only on admissions. Prop 209 is hiring, awards, admissions, sort of all of that. So we've lived under that reality now for many, many years. And do you want me to talk a little bit about what we've been doing, Jenny and Colleen? Okay.
Yeah.
And so, so while we are aware, obviously, of the different identities that students have, the way we've really thought about it is what are the populations that we are aiming to take care of, and recruiting students to programs where they're interested in those types of populations. So that's the sort of the curriculum side. So we have a program for rural students who are interested in rural health. We have a program for students who are interested in urban healthcare, similar for Central Valley. And then on the admissions side, we've really had to rethink how to do admissions at Davis because of Prop 209. And so we use holistic review, which, is what everybody does, but I'll tell you the pieces of our holistic review are that we've restructured our admissions, who participates in admissions. So our admissions group includes faculty, of course, includes students, and actually includes community members. Everyone who's involved in admissions gets training in implicit bias training, as well as sort of anti-bias work. And then we look at students a little bit differently. So we have what we're calling a Davis score, Davis scale. And that scale basically looks at quantitative data that's provided on the AMCAS application related to students' financial background. So did they have a fee waiver? Did they contribute financially to their family? And we use that score to give the students essentially, like on a scale of 0 to 99, how economically disadvantaged they were. And so that's one piece of the holistic review that we use. And what we have found is that, that students who have significant economic disadvantage tend to be not exclusively actually in California. We have lots of white students who have had lots of economic disadvantage, but many of our students of color also. And so for us, it kind of meets our mission of reaching communities that don't have enough doctors. So really reaching in to find those students and recruit them to medical school. So it's sort of those two things, right? So, and then so I'll tell you one other piece to that is we have an amazing outreach team. So our Office of Diversity has, I think it has 8 FTE, staff FTE, in addition to the faculty FTE, who do a ton of outreach and recruitment including running like a post-bac program and sort of summer immersion programs. So programs that really, again, sort of target the type of students that we see as important to the future health of California.
So can I ask a question about those pipeline programs? Because I think that's something where I'll admit I have a little confusion with some others that I've talked to. So because of this ruling, so we did have, speaking with my hat of my school that I work for, you know, we have some pipeline programs that were specifically recruiting UIM students, right? You know, very specifically. Can you, you know, now with SCOTUS, then when you had Proposition 29, can you do that, or are your pipeline programs much more kind of holistic themselves in who or are they targeted towards UIMs? How does that work?
So the first thing I'll say, Jenny, is we don't use the term pipeline anymore. We talk about pathway programs because of the, right, some folks find that a traumatizing term. So I'll just say that piece. And then our programs are all pretty broad, actually, in the invited membership. So we talk about students who are educationally disadvantaged, socioeconomically disadvantaged, first generation to college, things like that. We do not use race actually in any of those programs. So that's what we've done. We have programs focused on Title I schools. So you know that Title I schools are those that have a large number of students who get free or reduced lunch. And those tend to go along with low income communities. We have programs that are focused for rural students. So really, for us, it's really about disadvantage in rural.
No, that's super, super helpful. Colleen, do you have any questions? I have another one, but go ahead. Yeah.
First, I'm taking notes because this is amazing. So I'm at a school in New York, like for my day job, and I actually think, you know, a lot of this would be helpful. You know, we don't have a state legislation, you know, that we're kind of like fighting against or like operating under, but I think we're still trying to find our footing within the state of New York and the city of New York City for what we do going forward and to ensure it fits our mission. So really, I am personally really thankful for what you're having to say here. I do have a question. I don't know if it's going to be Jenny's question, but I'll ask mine. How do you still manage faculty? Faculty in the senior administrative staff, that tends to be what creeps up a lot. At least that's what a lot of my colleagues have asked. And I think that's been some of the misnomers that I've had to correct, even with my own some of my own colleagues at my school, of, you know, we still have to be tracking that and we have to have a mechanism for it. So any insights you have on that would be helpful.
So, and Jenny, I'll defer to you on this, but we track all of that, Colleen, right, as we are required to. Same for students. We do track race and ethnicity. We sort of look at that in retrospect, right? Same for staff and faculty. And I think for us, it's, you know, we've talked a lot about what this should look like or what it could look like, and really what are the places that we go to recruit faculty, right? And then what are the programs that we offer that support faculty to want to come? And honestly, Colleen, a lot of it is working with the medical students, right? So the faculty, the diverse faculty, want to be in a place where there are diverse learners, right? To sort of to work with that group of students. I don't know. And I think we have some other institutional work that's really, I would call it anti-racism work across the institution.
Yeah, you're making yourself attractive to applicants.
Yeah.
And then, so we talked about, you know, the center, and then pathway programs, and then and then retention programs, I guess, is the final thing to kind of close it out. So again, I guess I'm going to assume that your retention programs are also broad in nature, or again, are not targeted
for students.
For students or for faculty, I
guess. Yeah. So we have a really large SNMA group, a very large LMSA group, but as you know, like those are not exclusive to those groups, right? They welcome kind of anyone who wants to come. So I think that has been our approach, and I would say when students come forward, so we have a MENA, like a Middle Eastern North African group. So as students are interested, right, in bringing like-minded people together, the school has been super supportive, actually, of bringing those students together.
Okay. this has been super helpful. We're almost at we try to keep it around 10 minutes or so. Any final words or any, as you've been, I know UC Davis has been like highly quoted, you've been highly quoted, like any kind of like summation or things that you get asked frequently that we didn't ask, or
Someone just asked me today about the lawyers, right? And what's the role of the lawyers? And I have to say that our institution and our systems lawyers have been incredibly supportive. And so as people are starting to look forward to GME, and is there anything for us to expect on the GME side? That they're developing sort of a toolkit of what's low risk or high risk things to say or behavior, or how can we institutionally continue with our mission, right, while also being very mindful of staying within the federal law now, in addition to the state law.
Great.
So lawyers are our friends, I would say.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, well, again, we really want to thank you. I think people are going to be really grateful to hear the wisdom and what you guys have done for so long and been so incredibly successful at. So we want to thank you for joining our podcast today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Till next month.
That's right.